All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us for Webinar Wednesday here at Montana State University in Bozeman. We are thrilled to have you along for our ride tonight. My name is Max. I'm one of our admission counselors here at MSU, and I have some very special guest presenters with us tonight. We are going to be talking all about majors in academic advising at MSU. So not only a little bit about what some of our options are that we have available for students, but what sort of resources and tools and services are available to kind of help you navigate through that process. Before we jump into that, though, I want to run through a quick few things with you here. Technical support is the first one I want to touch base on. In order to ensure that everybody can hear us adequately, we have by default muted and disabled your audio connections. So we will be answering questions as we go through this meeting, but not vocally. So that leads to point number 2. If you have a question, we do have a chat feature. If you're on a desktop computer, there should be a little chat window. And if you're on a phone or tablet device, there's a little chat bubble icon you can click to access that. Any questions you have about our presentation tonight, you can send those to us as we go through the evening, and our counselor team will help answer those, and we might even pick some of them for the question and answer period at the end. Now, if you're having issues with audio connection throughout this, maybe your internet connection's not great or it keeps cutting out, you can also call in to listen to this meeting alongside your internet connection, and you can see the number listed there in red on screen. It's 1-855-797-9485. And if you run into a situation later throughout the presentation where you lose audio, ask us in the chat. Again, we can help you out and get you going. So with all of that out of the way, we're going to switch over to tonight's presenters. Tonight I am joined by Emily Edwards and Paige Wyatt, both from our Advising Commons here on the MSU campus, and they are going to take several minutes here first to introduce themselves and then walk themselves through the presentation for you. And then again, we will be back at the end to talk about some questions and major topics for students that come up as they navigate through the process at the end. So with that, I'll turn it over to them.
Good evening. My name is Emily Edwards. I am an academic advisor and the advising coordinator in University Studies and Advising Commons. I'm very happy to join you this evening to talk a little bit about majors at MSU, the importance of academic advising, and the role it can play in student success here. I've been at MSU since 2002, and I've in that time worked with students as they transition to the university, working largely with first year and second year students. And it's truly a joy to help them on their journey as they're trying to determine their best fit for academic major and seeing them through to graduation.
Hi, my name is Paige Wyatt. Welcome. We're so glad that you joined us. I'm an academic advisor in University Studies and Advising Commons. I work most specifically with pre-medicine intake students. I've been at Montana State for 6 or 7 years now and worked in a variety of roles, and advising is definitely my favorite.
To give you an overview of some of the topics we're going to cover with you tonight, we are going to talk largely about majors, we'll talk about minors, academics in general, and of course the importance of academic advising at MSU in trying to help our students and our family members understand how advising can be a pivotal role in your student success. We're going to start by focusing on the academic structure of MSU. So at MSU, we have 9 different colleges, and you can see everything that's listed on the left-hand side of your screen. Those are our colleges at MSU, plus we have 2 more on the right. And the colleges are where our majors are housed. Our colleges and the majors within those are grouped together by like areas of study. So for example, I'm going to talk through some of these colleges and give you some examples of some of the majors that you might find in these areas. So we're going to start with our College of Agriculture, which is probably one of our oldest colleges here at MSU, but you can have degrees in the College of Agriculture with everything from livestock management to economics to ranching systems to sustainable foods. We next have our College of Arts and Architecture, where you'll find many of our creative arts, such as architecture, environmental design, graphic design, music technology, film and photography. Next is our Jake Jabs College of Business and Entrepreneurship. This college has a great focus on entrepreneurship, and in addition to our business major and different options within the business major. We have minors and certificates for students who might want to focus on business without having a full business major. In education, health, and human development, we house our teaching degrees, as well as some of our degrees that focus on human services, different facets of human health, and working with students in our university studies program. We'll often hear from students that they're interested in a degree or a program where they can help others. That's where you're going to find a lot of our degrees for helping others within our health and human development department. Next is our Norm Asbjornson College of Engineering, where we have multiple engineering disciplines as well as some engineering technology degrees. Our most diverse college at MSU, the College of Letters and Sciences, where you can find anything from our traditional disciplines in the humanities to some interdisciplinary degrees like liberal studies, as well as physics, chemistry, and math. We have our College of Nursing, where students can earn a Bachelor of Science in Nursing. And moving over to the right-hand column, University Studies, this is our home office for Paige and myself, and this is the program of focus for our students who don't know exactly what they want to study. So our students who are undecided and want some time and some assistance in figuring out what's the best academic fit for them, they can choose to start in University Studies, which is a great way to begin your college experience. At MSU, we also have Gallatin College, which offers 1- and 2-year programs, some certificates in areas like aviation and welding, culinary arts, and cybersecurity. And last but certainly not least, our Honors College, where students can add distinction to their MSU degree, take some smaller sized courses, and work with some pretty amazing faculty there. I do want to point out with all of our majors at MSU, when you're applying to MSU, you are applying directly into a major and you don't have to have a separate application. Some schools and the College of Engineering, you might have to apply and be accepted specifically to that department. But at MSU, you have the ability to identify the major that you want to declare when you apply. And if you are accepted to MSU, you are also accepted into that major. So to talk about majors a little bit more, major at MSU, which would be your bachelor's degree, consists of 120 to 128 credits. We have different types of bachelor's degrees at MSU. We have a Bachelor of Arts, which these degrees typically focus on areas within the humanities and the arts at MSU. We have a Bachelor of Fine Arts, which tends to have a little more hands-on application within the art. And last, we have our Bachelor of Science. The Bachelor of Science is going to focus a little bit more within its research on some STEM, some math, some science requirements as well. Now, there isn't one of these degrees that's necessarily better than the other. The piece that really matters for students is that they're finding a major that feels like the best academic fit to them, that reflects their interests, their strengths, their values, and their goals. In addition to majors, if a student wants, they can choose, they don't have to, but they can choose to have a minor at MSU. Our minors would be a second area of focus, but it's going to be a smaller area of focus. You're only going to have about 21 to 30 credits within your minor. Similarly, we also offer certificates with a few less requirements for you with a certificate. Our certificates can be anything from an entrepreneurship certificate to a leadership certificate, where students have the ability to have yet again another area of focus. So when they leave our institution, they could say, hey, not only did I have this great major in writing, but I also had a major in entrepreneurship, which can be a wonderful pairing for students. And finally, to make sure everybody understands, we're using a lot of language here about credits. A credit essentially is going to reflect 1 hour of class time, right? So every time we say a credit, if you're taking 120 credits, by the end you will have had 120 hours among your different courses. So each course at MSU is typically 3 to 4 credits. And if you have a 3-credit course, that will mean you'll have 3 hours in the seat roughly for that course. We tend to recommend 15 credits per semester, which is typically 4 or 5 classes, or 15 hours in the seat per week. And that, if you average 15 credits a semester, can help make sure that you will graduate within 4 years.
One of the things that I love best about my job is helping students craft their educational path at MSU. With more than 130 major options, more than 80 minor options, and about 10 certificate programs, MSU has a lot of choice for you to craft your educational path. This is so exciting and allows you to create a unique educational experience through pairing together a major and a minor, like food and nutrition major with a global health minor, or perhaps choosing a double major, like political science major with economics major, or a major and a certificate, as Emily described before, with a major in writing and potentially a business certificate. Minors, certificates, and second majors are not required. They're optional. And if you choose to add a second major or a minor, you would work with several different advisors to ensure that you're meeting all of the requirements for each of those levels of distinction on your degree. It's important to remember that MSU is always looking and adding new curriculum. In the last few years, we've added hospitality management, environmental engineering, and a sustainability studies minor that lots of students are enjoying. The next thing we want to talk about are the 4 parts of a degree. When we talk about a 4-year degree at MSU, as Emily said, it typically is 120 to 128 credits, depending on your major. Within those 120 credits, there are different areas where you will spend time with the credits. A majority of credits within a major, as you can see from the pie chart, are spent in your area of study. If you have chosen mechanical engineering, you will spend a majority of your time becoming an expert in that area. So more than half of your degree is typically dedicated toward your major of study. Typically 25% or a quarter of your degree is core, and core is what we call our general education. That's what gives you the width in your degree, where you take courses in math and science and social science, humanities, and that really helps you look at your major of study from an interdisciplinary and broad perspective. Many majors also have room for elective credit. Elective would be any course that's of interest that you are taking that doesn't apply to core or major. It could be something that just interests you. It could be an activities class like climbing or 5K running, or anything else that you are interested in taking. And some majors have foundational courses, and this would typically be math that helps a student get ready for a higher level course like physics or chemistry. So pulling together all of the pieces of the degree will round out to 120 to 128 credits. And you have a lot of choice in what that looks like. To show you what that looks like, Emily will talk you through a standard first semester at Montana State.
Okay, so to help this make sense in what your first semester can look like, we're going to give you some examples of how you would use those different parts of a degree to have your first semester's worth of courses. On the right, we've got the categories where you're typically going to be grabbing your classes in your first semester. You can see that we have at least 3 core areas identified for students. And I want to talk a little bit about our first year seminar at MSU. We offer first year seminars, and we really recommend that students take this whenever possible in their first semester. Seminars are excellent classes and they fulfill core requirements, but they can help you get to know other students. You're going to get to know a faculty member who will check in on you, who's going to want to know how you're doing each day, but they're also going to be a great resource for you to either understand a new major discipline like business or to introduce you into interdisciplinary thinking at MSU. Our seminars also have peer leaders or peer mentors in the classroom, and the peer mentor is a successful upper division student who's a great positive academic role model and a wonderful connection for our students to take. So our business seminar is one example, and that would be the seminar you would likely choose if you were going to pursue a business major. So I'm going to show you some other specific classes here that would be common classes for business majors to take in their first semester. So a business major in their first semester, our business degree requires statistics and survey of calculus, but in some instances we have students who might need some of that foundational work in math, like Paige was talking about earlier. So in this case, a student might want to take college algebra to help make sure they have a strong foundation for going on into their accounting courses, into their calculus courses as well. We would then also have the student take something that was specific to the major. And in this instance, we're identifying economics, our Econ 101 course. This class is both required for the major and its core. So if this student later on should choose to pursue a different degree, they would still have fulfilled our social science core requirement by taking this class. So when you're meeting with your advisor and you're picking your classes each semester, we're going to help you in a very mindful way look at classes that fulfill major requirements, but also help you keep doors open for other potential options. We often recommend college writing in the first semester for students. Sometimes students might take that in their second semester, or if they're bringing in credit for college writing, they might not need to. So depending upon whether or not a student takes writing in their first semester, we would have some other options that we would talk with the student about. Astronomy, Mysteries of the Sky is a favorite MSU course for our science core. And then another option for a student might be to continue taking Spanish, or if they've never had the opportunity to learn another language before, they might choose that, and the Spanish would be an elective. So when we meet with you to talk about classes, we'll talk about your interests, we'll talk about your goals, and we're going to help you find that best fit of courses that meet those common components of a degree, but also work towards your specific major requirements. And again, we're going to recommend typically a student take about 15 credits in their first semester to make sure they can keep making progress towards graduation. Should graduating in 4 years be a goal for the student? Now, to help you make sense of how this would apply for your specific major, we have some links here. If you look on the left, we've got the website for admissions, and they've got a really helpful way for students and family members to see the requirements for our majors at MSU. Now on the left, you can search this in multiple ways. You can filter by interest. So if you know you're interested in business, but if you don't know which area of business you want to focus on, you can click on the button that says business, and it will take you to a list of all of our majors at MSU where you can learn about business. You can also search by college if you'd like, or you can just scroll through the list alphabetically to see those courses. I'm going to take you to a specific example now. So if you were to click on Fish and Wildlife, which is a biology degree here at MSU, and it's a very popular degree for our students who love the outdoors and might choose Bozeman for that reason. So Fish and Wildlife, when you go to the catalog, and again, this is what you would see after you click on the degree requirements, this is going to show you essentially a semester by semester list of recommended courses. Advisors and faculty have put this list together, so students are making progress, they're taking their courses in order. One of the nice things about this is when you look at this degree option, every course abbreviation with number is a hyperlink. So you could click on that course, get a course description to learn what would you learn about if you took BIOE 103 CS, Environmental Science and Society. This is another very popular class for our students where they can learn about the Rocky Mountain ecosystem and environmental issues with the sciences. So again, you'll see we have 15 credits recommended here for each semester. Core will play an integral role within your first year and even into your second year, although students don't have to finish their core within a certain time. They can spread it out, and your advisor is going to recommend that you pick those core classes mindfully, that you find the core classes that are part of your major, or when there isn't a core assigned to that major. Let's say in Fish and Wildlife you wanted to take an arts core. There isn't a specific arts core you would have to take for Fish and Wildlife. You have choice. So your advisor would talk to you about your interests to help you figure out what might be a really great arts core for you to try in your first or second semester. I'm going to turn it over to Paige, who's going to talk with you a little bit about bringing in college credit, as we know a lot of students tend to bring in credit to MSU.
What if I have college credit? We get this question a lot from students and parents. And whenever I get that question when I'm doing a presentation or speaking with students and parents, I always say that's great. Any AP, IB, or dual credit courses you took in high school will help you in college. It can help you fulfill certain requirements. It can help you become prepared for college. So we always think completed credits are great if that's the path that you chose in high school. If you didn't choose to take AP, IB, or dual credit in high school, that's also okay because we have everything you need here at MSU to get you where you want to go. So either way, it's perfectly fine. So it's important to understand where to find out how the courses you've taken in high school will apply to degree here at Montana State. So again, admissions has this great website where it talks about transferring credits. We have a screenshot here on the left part of the screen and the address up above so that you can go and see what you have taken either in AP, IB, or dual enrollment credits and how they would apply to degree. So along the bottom of that bar, you can toggle through and press on advanced placement and see how your AP site comes into Montana State. You can also see where the orange arrow is. If you click on that, that takes you to our transfer equivalencies tool where you can look at your home institution if you've taken dual credit, and you can see how those credits would transfer to Montana State. If you have specific questions about the credits that you've taken, we would like to have you contact admissions directly for more specific information. And please understand that your transcript from those institutions will be audited by admissions and will be uploaded to your degree here at MSU once you arrive. For more specific information, I want to give you an example of what it might look like if you were transferring credit in. Nursing is a great example because you will notice on the screenshot here that many of the courses required in the first 2 years of our nursing degree are also core requirements. So you will see that we've got the university seminar and the writing and the math and some of the sciences, as well as some other required courses in the nursing degree. So anything that you see on that, we can then compare to courses that you've taken in high school. So a student who has taken AP Statistics and has passed the AP exam with a 3 or higher would receive credit for their quantitative reasoning core in the Stat 216, Introduction to Statistics. Same with AP Psychology, a student would come in with Psych 100. If a student took a dual credit college writing that's equivalent to Writing 101, that would also be fulfilled. So I hope this gives you a little bit more context in understanding how completed courses that you have from high school may apply to your degree here at Montana State. Now Emily's going to speak to you a little bit more about advising.
Okay, so we're going to transition a little bit. Paige and I have already been sharing a lot of information with you and using our academic jargon here at MSU. But one thing I want to stress for our students, when you join us at MSU and you start at orientation, we're going to walk you through all of this. We're going to help you understand what credits are, what your degree requirements are, whether that's us or the advisor in your department. You are going to have somebody who helps you kind of get your grounding and start to understand your responsibilities as a student, what your requirements are. So to that end, to talk a little bit about academic advising. Academic advising at MSU is viewed as a collaborative process between students, faculty, and professional advisors. And our goal is to empower our students to really take charge of their educational experience here at MSU. We want our students to discover who they are as learners, to learn new things about themselves, to figure out where their academic interests lie, and then to determine how their university experience is going to shape the rest of their lives. And what are the things they can do while they're here at MSU that are going to help them create the future they want. The screenshot that you see is our advising syllabus, and we do have a link where you can go to the syllabus and view the full document. And the syllabus helps students and advisors understand what the student's responsibility is when it comes to academic advising, because students, you'll have some roles that you'll need to fill and some requirements when it comes to academic advising. And your advisor also has some responsibilities and roles in what we expect of them in helping you as you transition to MSU. So to talk about that a little bit, your advisor has a couple primary roles. First, for our students who are undecided, and even for our students who are in declared majors, we want to help you explore your major and make sure that you understand the curriculum, that it feels like the right fit for you, and that you know what is expected of you, right? What are the requirements for you to earn that degree in economics or for you to earn that degree in financial engineering? We want to help you create a plan to graduation so we can account for whatever it is that you might need. If you're going to be balancing work while you're in school, if you're going to be participating in a sport, or if you volunteer, we want to help you create a plan that will address all of those unique needs that each student will have. We're there to answer questions for you. We're there to connect you to resources. We're also there to teach you and help you learn how you can find these answers as you progress through your time at MSU on your own. We will absolutely help you choose classes, but we try and do more, right? We want to be your guide. We want to be your coach. We want to challenge and support you in positive ways with the goal of helping you take on more ownership as you progress through your degree at MSU. And last but not least, we really enjoy talking with students about co-curricular activities and opportunities. In addition to the over 200 options you can study here at MSU, we have a lot of other amazing opportunities, right? Our students are engaged in research at MSU. They can study abroad. They can participate in national student exchange. We want to help our students find those ways to explore their interest inside the classroom and outside the classroom so they can have a really rich, vibrant experience. And to help you understand, some of you are probably wondering, who is this magical advisor and when can I meet them? You're first going to meet your academic advisor during orientation, right? That's when we'll work with you to talk about your classes for your first semester. Your advisor will be assigned to you. Each academic unit will assign an advisor, or you might have a team of advisors who would work with you. And that basically is going to be one of your major touchstones here at MSU, the person who can help you navigate, right? When you don't know who else to go to ask a question, talking to your advisor is always a great first step. We require students to meet with us at least once a semester. And that once a semester meeting minimum is to make sure that when we're looking for your future semesters, that you're identifying the right classes to take, that your plan is working for you. Now, you're not limited to how many times you can meet with your academic advisor. You can definitely meet with them more than once a semester. Some students might pop into our office 2 or 3 times a semester. Some might just come in for that once. We really let our students kind of drive that after we've met with them at least once. So for those of you who want that connection, we really encourage it. But for those of you who are pretty self-sufficient and feel like you're okay, you don't need a lot of assistance with it, we still want to meet with you just that once a semester to make sure you're on track. I'm now going to pass it over to Paige, who's going to talk about another facet of academic advising with you.
Again, we get this question, what if I change my major, a lot from students and parents. And the first thing I want to say is no problem. It's very common. In fact, more than 50% of students at MSU change their major a minimum more than once from the time they enroll to the time they graduate. And in our home department, University Studies, and the Academic Advising Center, we are experts in helping students figure out where they want to go and what they want to do. And we do this in several ways because we really want to minimize major hopping, and we want to have students step into the exploration process early so that they can find a path that works for them and make their way to graduation. We do this by really focusing on the student. We do personalized, one-on-one, holistic advising with a range of exploratory tools with our students. We look at what you're interested in, where your strengths are, what your goals are, and what you value. And we bring that together with our extensive knowledge of all the first and second curricula of every single major and minor on campus to help you choose courses to explore different majors while also making your way to graduation. So I want to put you at ease. If you change your major, it's okay. We've got you. And in fact, about 15% of MSU's incoming class start as undecided. So they really start their process at MSU, stepping into that exploration, finding the academic expression of their interests, and stepping into their path. By the end, 93% of university studies students are declared by the end of their third semester, and they make adequate progress toward their degree in 4 years. So this is something that we're very, very comfortable navigating, and any student can come through university studies in the Academic Advising Center. So we work with the undecided exploring at the very beginning, and then we also work with the major changers. Again, changing your major in college is not uncommon. And we have resources and the knowledge to help students make informed, intentional decisions to help them stay on track for graduation. In addition to academic advising, there are other types of advisors on the campus here at Montana State. We have advisors that help students who are interested in pursuing a professional degree after graduation, and that may be a law degree, a medical degree, a veterinary medicine degree. And these pre-professional advisors help students create a well-rounded application, figure out when they'll take their entrance exam, look at their whole application to make sure that they're competitive. These are not degrees, but these are support services that can help students make that jump to professional school after graduation. We also have success advisors, and we partner with those extensively in our Alan Yarnell Center for Student Success. Over there, we've got coaches who work with students who maybe are struggling with time management or figuring out how to take their tests or figuring out how to find the tutors. Those would be our success coaches. Students who really want to understand how to finance their education, how to create a budget, how to anything on the financial end can work with a financial coach. And of course, our career coaches help with resume building, looking for internships, and also exploring different areas of interest. We have specialized advising centers to work with different groups of students. We have the American Indian, Alaska Native Services, Veteran Services, and Disability Services. All of these are available to students, and we certainly encourage them to take advantage of anything there. And anyone having questions can come to the Academic Advising Center. We'll help them.
Right. So the Academic Advising Center is our home. We are open in our office Monday through Friday. Every day the university is open, and we're open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can call us to ask a question, and if we have an advisor available, that advisor will help you over the phone. We have an email address where you can send us a question, and again, individuals are welcome to come in if you are on campus. For our students, we offer walk-in advising. We also offer appointments for our students to come in. So again, we can be a great place if students aren't sure of where to go ask their question or who the best person is. We might not be the final answer, but we can usually be a great first person to ask a question of. With that, I think we are going to open it up to some potential questions.
We are indeed, and thank you both. You did a wonderful job. A lot of information to cover, as you can all see tonight, as far as what we're going over. Couple different questions, and by the way, we're going to start running through them here, but if anybody watching at home still has questions or things they'd like us to address, feel free to add those in the chat window, and our team will do their best to answer them for you, and if we're seeing a lot, we'll bring them up here. But the first thing I want to kind of subject I want to broach with either of you is double majoring.
Mhm.
Talked about it a little bit at the beginning. I guess just this is a question we get a lot in our office, and I'm wondering if you can speak a little bit to, feasibility wise, what does that look like for a student? What could they, in broad strokes, maybe expect? I know it's very different depending on what they choose to double major in, but what that experience is kind of like.
Sure. Most students, I shouldn't say most students, but typically we have when a student wants to double major, they will start MSU declared in a single major. And then after they are a student on our campus, they can declare a second major if they would like. It's not required, as we mentioned earlier. And there are a lot of pairings that can work really well together. In particular, some of our degrees where there's a good bit of room for electives, it can be easy for a student to add a second major without adding time to their degree. So in some fields like sociology, psychology, our literature degrees, there's usually a good bit of space where a student can find a second area of focus. And when students have multiple areas of interest like that, we love it when they find ways to package their interests either in a double major or a major and a minor, because when they leave MSU, they can show any potential employer or potential graduate school, hey, not only do I have this area of expertise, but I have this second focus area. So a writing minor can be a great way to show people you have strong communication skills, right? It can be a really nice way to add value to your degree by having that second area.
Excellent. Kind of scaling back from that a little bit, maybe a student who has a major in mind and they want to take some courses elsewhere on campus in a different college or university setting. For example, an engineering major who maybe wants to take some courses in photography, but not major or minor in it. Is that something they can do? Can they cross the college line, so to speak, to take courses?
Yes, students can, as long as they meet the prerequisite, they can take classes in other colleges. The prerequisite would just be if a student has to have some type of knowledge right before they take that class. And you tend to see prerequisite work happen mostly with math, with sciences. So if you wanted to take a photography course, we have two great starting points for photography: understanding photo, where you get to go in the dark room and learn how to process and develop film. We also have a digital photography course, and we have sections of those classes that are open to non-majors. We want our students to grab those core classes that can really enhance their experience and their degree. So we don't want them to just stay within their college.
Excellent. Kind of similar, I guess, vein as far as academics go, or for students kind of looking at these topics. A lot of the conversation that we've talked about here has a little bit to do with what starts happening when they're in their meetings with their advisors or when they're at orientation. But what would you say to a student who's maybe a senior right now, who's applied, been accepted, and is wondering if they can talk to an advisor now, ahead of time before they actually get here?
Sure. We have prospective students, admitted students that call and ask questions of our advisors in our advising center. That's perfectly acceptable. If a student doesn't know where they would like to start that conversation, they can certainly start in our office, the Academic Advising Center, and we can connect them to an advisor within their discipline. And our advisors are knowledgeable in all the different majors and minors, so we could certainly talk generally about that. Those substantive conversations, though, typically do begin when a student comes to orientation. And that's when we do a majority of our advising. But if you had questions about your specific discipline, if you wanted to look through some of the courses, we can certainly show you how to do that and connect you with a department so that you can have that conversation.
We love talking about classes.
We
So
do.
usually when students call and they have questions about, oh my gosh, I'm not sure what I should take, it's usually pretty easy for us to recommend classes and different things for students to look at, because we want you to be excited about this. We want you to start thinking about it when you're ready to. You don't have to before orientation, but if you'd like to beforehand, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'd be happy to talk with you about classes and academics.
Outstanding. One of the questions I think we get, especially as admission counselors, a lot right now, will be a bit of concern about course availability and majors. There's a lot of folks I think who are experiencing or working with schools either now or with family members where they have impacted majors, right? Or there's course availability that feasibly doesn't allow a student to graduate in 4 years if they're planning to do that or look at these different programs in a manner that makes sense for them. What can you kind of say as far as course availability goes, and are there any programs that are impacted like that?
This is Paige. I'll answer the question about course availability. We have a SWAT team here that looks at incoming students, continuing students, how many seats we need. So no matter which orientation you attend, the sort of institutional promise to you is that any course that you need to move forward in your major, we will find a way to get you a seat in that. Some of the most impacted sort of first semester courses that we see, at least with the students that I work with, is chemistry. And so we are always sort of shuffling around, but every student who qualifies for chemistry and needs it for their major in order to move forward and graduate in 4 years will be offered a seat in there. So don't worry about getting courses that you need. We will make sure that you get those. It may be an 8 a.m. section instead of a 2 p.m. section, but you will have a seat in chemistry when you come through. And then you had the second part was impacted majors?
Impacted majors, yeah. You know, caps or limits on seats or anything like that in a given cohort for students coming in.
I think the only place where we might see that, and there haven't been issues with students in those majors being able to move forward, but sometimes students who might want to take an art class, we are bound by space in some areas. So for our studios, if you're not an art major, you might not be able to take an art class in your first semester if room has closed in the non-major section. But if you don't need that for your major, we would recommend that you take that maybe in your second semester. But if you are in that major, as Paige mentioned, we do absolutely everything we can to make sure that you are able to take the classes you've met the prerequisites for, so you can make progress toward degree.
From the experiences you've both had working with students, what would you say is maybe the biggest or most common concern among a student who is coming in as university studies when they start kind of in that undecided option?
I would tell you, my undecided students out there, one, it's okay. I think there can be a lot of pressure to feel like you need to know what you're going to do. And I'm making air quote signs right now, even though you can't see me, for the rest of your lives. If you talk to family members, if you talk to friends, nobody knows what they want to do for the rest of their lives, and it's okay. We encourage exploration, right? We really want our students to spend some time thinking about what they like, learning about themselves and how our different majors can fit them. As long as you're mindful and you're picking your classes carefully with an advisor, typically our students, as Paige mentioned before, they're not behind, right? They're making informed choices. They're making choices that they tend to stick with and then not switch between different majors later on. So it's challenging, right? When somebody says, hey, what are you going to major in? Because after they ask you where you're going to school, the next question will be, what will you major in? And if you can't answer that, that can be frustrating. As a former undecided student myself, I know what that feels like, and I do want to help you know that you are not alone, and we applaud you for recognizing that you want some time, you want to think about this, and we will help you.
We also have a 1-credit course called Career Connections that we offer through our department, and that's what I would call a guided exploration. So during that 1-credit course, it's only half a semester, we use a lot of tools and we spend a lot of time looking at all of the different options while also helping you look at yourself and figuring out that process. And so we would certainly recommend to any student who's interested in exploring different options and really wants to find out what this experience can be for them and who they want to become, that they would consider taking the 1-credit Career Connections course. And that sort of takes the pressure off of you having to do some exploration, on your own or whatever. It's guided by the advisors in our office. So that's another option.
And I just want to address a few quick, more technical questions before we keep moving on, because I did see some questions about advanced placement and transfer credits and everything. One question we get a lot from students right now will be, what scores do you need on, for example, an AP exam when you come in to get credit? Again, Paige had that link and great kind of explanation of the guide that we've built on our website to show you what credit you'll earn when you come in. A good general rule of thumb for AP courses for MSU to accept them is a passing score. So that's generally going to be a score of 3 or better. There are a few exceptions. Most notably, I believe, is AP English Language Composition, which requires a 4 for college writing. But generally, a passing score across the board is going to put you in a good spot. And you see similar things for International Baccalaureate, passing scores on those exams, and generally in that transfer credit for like dual enrollment as well. The other question I wanted to kind of shed a little bit more light on would be what kind of student are you, freshman versus transfer? We get a lot of students talking or wondering coming in if they are in fact a transfer student because they have, 12, 24, maybe 45 credits of AP or dual enrollment under their belt when they get here, or maybe they even earned a full associate's degree while in high school. Generally, in most cases, what's going to happen is we're still going to consider that student to be a first-time freshman student at MSU, in that this is your first time going fully through your college experience post high school graduation. That's not to say that you won't get credit for those courses. You absolutely will. And that's where your advisor really can be very helpful as far as saying, look at all this stuff we've already taken care of and some of the opportunities that can open up for you. But we are generally going to consider you a freshman student. And that also comes into play for things like residence halls, like housing opportunities, and especially some of our scholarship opportunities for students as well. So just wanted to clarify on that one. And the links to those pages are also in chat currently, so you can check those out. One other topic that I've seen a bit of info go by on tonight is orientation, some questions about what that experience looks like and everything, because we mentioned it a few times. And tonight we're not going to get too far into the weeds on that one because we will have another webinar coming down the pipe here in a few weeks about orientation. But I wanted to ask both of you kind of, if you were sitting down talking with a high school senior right now, for example, who is planning on attending MSU and they are getting ready for this summer and for orientation, what's the biggest piece of advice you would give them walking into that program or into MSU in general at this point?
I would say for the students to stay open and ask questions. You will have the opportunity at both orientation and when you start at MSU to meet people from all across the country, from across the world. You're going to get to meet amazing faculty and advisors. And as you're going through that experience at orientation and as you get started at MSU, you should ask questions, right? We don't want anybody to not ask questions because they're afraid or they're not sure. Never hesitate to ask a question. So we know if you need something, we can help you. We have an incredible team here on our campus in just about every office, and they really do want to help our students. So all you have to do is say, hey, I've got a question, and somebody is really going to try to answer that for you.
One of the things that I always talk to students about during orientation is just sort of a mindset shift. I work primarily with pre-medicine intake students, but with general advising students as well. And the pre-med track is challenging. And I always recommend that students step into tutoring. Whether you use tutoring in high school or not, my strongest students use tutors because they want to do well in school. And so there's sort of a mindset shift from high school to college, and there's a lot of learning that happens in the first year. This is normal. There are lots of developmental tasks that you are taking care of. You're living on your own potentially for the first time. You're maybe moving away from a hometown where you've known everyone your whole life. You're making friends for the first time. You're maybe managing all of your personal things, what happens when you get sick, right? So these are all tasks that you will undertake while you're here at the institution. And so it's okay to, step into services, whether it's tutoring, whether it's the health services, and as Emily said, to make sure that you're asking questions so that you know what to do. But there is sort of a big shift between high school and college, and that's what makes it so exciting because you really get to craft this experience. And we love just sort of watching students step through this process. So
You really get to kind of take ownership over your educational experience, which is incredible. It comes with a lot of responsibilities. And I think that also kind of ties in nicely with the point about asking questions.
Mhm.
Not only is it important to do, but we can all guarantee you that if you have that question, even if nobody else has their hands up, that question's floating around that room in other people's heads too. So,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
No.
All right. And with that, we are just about out of time at this point, folks. So thank you again, first, both of you, Emily and Paige, for joining us tonight. It's been absolutely amazing. A lot of good information we covered tonight. We're really, really glad to have you along to join us for a presentation tonight. So thank you both.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. We sure hope that we get to see you here soon at MSU, and let us know if we can help you with any questions you might have.
Excellent. And with that, we just have a few final notes as we close out here, folks. First and foremost, Webinar Wednesdays are brought to you by the Montana State University Office of Admissions. If you have questions or would like more information about academics, student life, and visiting campus, you can always contact us at admissions@montana.edu, via phone at 406-994-2452, or online at montana.edu. Special thanks again to our presenters as well as our awesome support team. We have several of our admission counselors working late tonight to help answer those questions in chat. So thank you for asking those questions, and thank you to that team for doing an awesome job tonight. We'd also like to extend a thank you to the Montana State University Information Technology Office for their continued support technically to make these events possible. And finally, a very, very heartfelt thank you to all of you for joining us tonight. We know these events would not be possible without you, and we know giving up a significant chunk of your time during a weeknight is no small feat. We will also have a copy of this presentation available to view on our website shortly. We will send follow-up emails with that information. But in the meantime, folks, please don't hesitate to reach out with any additional questions. We're always happy to help you out. As I mentioned, we will have more webinars coming down the pipeline here this spring, including one on orientation and then also a live student panel. So stay tuned for more info on those. Watch your inboxes, watch our website. But until then, folks, thank you and have a wonderful evening. We'll catch you next time.